so we can share this with all of our other viewers that can't be here right now. So before we get too far into it, want to do some introductions. We have Bill and Chris here, so you guys want to introduce yourself and maybe tell us how you got involved with Excite and some trips that you've been on that you guys did.
Oh, you're looking at me. Okay, I can. So, as far as getting involved with Excite, I think it's our fourth year. I want to say it's our fourth year. We've known JJ for a long time. He's a friend of our son from high school, and I retired in 2020. And JJ was over at a party, and I think Kyle kind of greased the skids a little bit, our son. And so he's over at a party, and we always like talking about travel. We travel all the time. We've traveled before, Excite and whatever. And we got to talking about travel that evening, and JJ was talking about you guys would make great, guides. And we honestly we thought about it a little bit before that, but not heavily.
Sure.
And so we decided, sure, let's give it a shot. And we loved it. I mean, our first one was New York, I think, which we've been to New York probably 40 or 50 times. We just go there 2 or 3 times a year usually. So that was a good first one to take. And since then, we've been, lots of places with
Yeah.
Excite. We've done some bus trips. We do mostly fly to stuff, although we'll do bus trips wherever we go. We've
Right.
done the Northeast Fall Colors multiple times. We've done Canada. We've done overseas stuff. We did the Christmas markets a couple of years ago in Europe. We're going to do that again this year, so plug for that one too. In late November, Kentucky Derby, just
Yeah.
a lot of things, right? And we love to travel. We love talking to people. Just my wife is like the hostess with the mostest. She's
Absolutely.
just that type of a person. She just puts up with me, and so we're looking forward to this trip. And this trip in Azamara, Chris and I were thinking about it, and Excite really didn't do a lot of uh,
Any
trips like
cruise.
that,
Yeah.
particularly overseas. And Osmar is a great boutique. Um, they have boutique ships. I think it's like 600 passengers or whatever. We've been on those, I don't know, 8 or 9 times on Osmar cruises. And we decided, we got with JJ, talked about it, and said, "Hey, let's get a cruise together." And we ended up getting one together last year from Venice through Croatia, around Italy, up to Rome. Some of you were on that trip. It was a great trip. I would venture to say that everybody on that trip loved Azamara. I didn't hear anything bad about it at all, only good. And our thought was, well, let's try and do this once a year. And they go all over the world, Azamara. So we'll see if that happens. But we are doing a second one this year, which is the one we're talking about tonight.
Yep.
It's in May, and we're continuing then from Rome all the way around the Mediterranean, France, Monte Carlo, Spain, through Gibraltar, all the way up to Lisbon.
Yeah.
So that's the one we're talking about tonight.
Perfect. It's great. I think most people know me, but JJ Bell, I co-own Excited Experiences with my Aunt Cindy. We've been around now 12 years. It really started happening 4 years ago, maybe five. So, and this is my first year and maybe not a little half that I've been here full time. So I was working at a bank, trying to keep the wheels on the bus financially for the company as we move forward. So now we're past that now and get to share all these amazing memories and trips with everybody. So we really got into these overseas trips almost on accident a long time ago, probably 8 years ago. And a company approached us and said, "Hey, we want to go to Ireland. Can you plan that trip?" And we said, "Why not? We plan all the trips in the US. We could do it." Um, and it was a very big learning opportunity for us on the back end. The guests had an amazing time. It was beautiful. It was great. But it was a it was a very expensive learning curve for us. But it was so fun, and probably wouldn't have done it as quickly or learned so much if we would have done that one trip. And since then, we've done all kinds of all over Europe. I mean, the Christmas markets of Europe, Italy, Ireland, a couple times, Greece. And now we're talking about Croatia and Spain and everywhere. So this is really cool. And then, Bill and Chris said, we do these like Azamara cruises and they're pretty cool. They should fit the group size that we do. They fit the Excite brand of the level of experience that you guys offer. What do you think about putting something together and then sort of combining not just the cruise, but maybe like a pre and or post departure tour? And so we sort of worked it out last year and had an amazing group out there. And then this year, we took some feedback from our guests about the weather being really hot in August, and we moved the trip to May and picked a different itinerary. And so now here we are with Tuscany and then the Azamar cruise and the Mediterranean icons. So what we're going to do from here going through is we are going to sort of roll through the itinerary. Um, we won't read every single word, but you guys can certainly read it. It's on our website, and I will show you that also. Bear with me here. I'm going to share my screen. All of the tours you can find on our website. Let's see if it's going to let me share this one here. Wait 1 second here. Okay, good. Okay, now we'll try this. There we are. Okay. And we're going to share this. Okay, so you can find all the brochures on our website, excitemytravel.com. You can do it. You can search a bunch of different ways up on the top, or you can just go to these like multi-day tours, and then these are all in date order. So you just go down to about May when the tour is, and here it is. And then you can view the printable PDF brochure, which is the one we would like mail out to you, or you can view tour details, which is where you can actually book the trip. And it's the same information anyway. So view tour view downloadable brochure is going to show this right here. And this is the whole printed, beautiful brochure and the order forms. You can print that. You can mail it in, or you can go here and hit view tour details, and then it has its own page. And there you can see our resort. And then over here is where you can book the tour, and then you can just hit read more, and you can view the whole thing here. Same information. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to start at the top. So, of course, we will. This is a fly tour. You got to fly to Italy. So we are going to fly, and we're going to fly into Rome because it's the biggest airport. It has the most flight options available. Typically, it's a good price, a better price than other smaller airports. So day one really is about meeting your guides at the airport. If you're flying from another city or you want to go with your friends or family that are from another city, we can arrange all the airfare for you for wherever you are. So Miami, Denver, wherever, Denver, St. Louis, Minneapolis, anywhere. Then you end up usually connecting somewhere in the U.S. before heading to Rome. But either way, then you will connect in Rome and meet the group. So if you fly from the U.S., it's an overnight flight, and then you'll fly, and then you'll arrive in Rome. Again, if you're from Omaha, you'll be with our guides, Bill and Chris, and then they will take you through customs, which is very simple usually nowadays. And then you'll get your bags, and then we will have the motor coach pick up everybody from the airport, and then you start touring from there. Would you guys add anything about that kind of whole like sort of first fly day and arrival before we move further into the trip?
We haven't lost anybody yet.
True.
I would say too that just one thing I would throw out since it's only January and this is the end of May. I don't know how much everybody travels or not, but one thing you may want to look at, which isn't necessary, but it helps, is global entry.
Mm-hmm.
You still may have time to get global entry before this trip, and I think it's like $100 for 5 years, and it's good when you're coming back into the U.S. because it makes going through customs so much more easy. Yep. Again, we have people that have it, don't have it. It's kind of like TSA, right? Some people have it, some people don't. We'll manage all of that. So I'm not saying you have to get it. I'm saying that's something, if you want to look into it, it's something that you might want to look into. And feel free to call us, Chris and I, with any questions about that.
Awesome. That's great. I had that question last time. Do we have to have it? What happens if you don't? No, we'll be there whether you have it or not. But it is helpful. If you're planning on doing more traveling, I would say take the time and invest in it. It's good.
Absolutely.
Also look for, if you have travel credit cards, or most likely they offer some sort of benefit that cover one person for one of those things. So check that out.
That's true.
Okay, so then we are going to do a brief run around Rome when we are there for a couple reasons. Number one, if you've never been, it's just a glimpse through, right? Having an ability to eat lunch, and because you can't really check into the hotel that until the afternoon. So it's a great reason to spend some time in the beautiful city of Rome. Again, Bill and Chris have been there several times, so they are well versed in that. And it'll be fun to go to one of the piazzas, Piazza Navona or Campo de Fiori to have lunch. And then
Yeah.
you will travel north to your resort and have a beautiful welcome dinner provided the um, at the Mediterranean resort in Tuscany. And that is called La Conda Rosa in Tuscany, and the address is right here on the back page. You can go Google it, check it out. It's gorgeous. We wanted to, if we're gonna do Tuscany, we wanted to have it like you were staying at a villa and you were able to like go to the different wineries and have one. And so this one has one on property as well as an olive orchard. So it's
Yeah.
really magnificent and a restaurant on site and like, it's a great location. Really you can't do any better than that place. It's absolutely beautiful. And they've been really helpful setting everything up actually. So it's been a good relationship so far and we haven't even got there yet. So you can expect great things about the rooms and the resort that you're going to stay at.
Mhm.
Okay, so then you're going to spend time exploring rural Tuscany. Everything that you do, you have private transfers to, so we don't have any like where we link up with another bus tour company and go do stuff. Everything's all private. So depending on how big a group we have, that's the kind of vehicles we will have. I've done it with tour buses. I've done it with mini tour buses. I've done it with two vans, like Sprinter type vans. Nothing is that far. I think the longest drive we have is like an hour, maybe hour and a half. So you're not in the vans very long. Today you're going to do a cooking class. We're really into like hands-on, like it's one of the best ways to get to know the culture, especially in Tuscany. So we have a really cool cooking class. And then we're going to go to Mount Verano and do an iconic winery where you can see the ocean from there. And then you're going to and they all include tour and tasting. So the winemaking is pretty much similar, but the history of what makes their wine special is really kind of interesting to learn and how prideful they are in their particular type of wine. And so that's really fun to hear. And then lunch is included that day. And then when you get back to the villa in the afternoon, you like late afternoon, you have time to relax. I found that sometimes dinner's a little later, so people will like usually take a nap or they'll go to the pool, just kind of relax, and then you know go to the restaurant on property for dinner that evening. Day four, you're gonna have breakfast. Breakfast is included every day except the fly-in day, because you'll be on the plane. And so you'll have breakfast at the resort. And then today you're gonna do an olive orchard tour and tasting, which is really interesting. They're gonna go through the old way of how they make olive oil and then kind of how the new way of doing it and you can compare and contrast the differences and all the different products they make out of olives and the different types of olive oil. I mean, it's really fascinating. And then you'll have lunch in Porto Santo Stefano, which is great. It's on your own, but there's like a big boardwalk where you can walk along this gorgeous Italian town and have some lunch, stroll along, maybe get some gelato. And then the afternoon is another amazing winery that's different from the first one and try to pick different vibes. And then tonight you'll go back to the resort and you'll have dinner with the group again. Okay, day five. So then you're going to head south towards Rome. On the way, you're going to stop for a visit to a really famous catacomb site. This is like one of the oldest in Italy, and it's just an amazing sight to see how much preservation is there and how it was preserved. And then you'll make your way to Civitavecchia, which is just north of Rome. And then Bill and Chris have this process down, but they will help you then get on board the ship. And so I thought I'd just have Bill and Chris kind of talk about that process from like what can they expect once we arrive and everybody's getting off the bus and then getting to your rooms and sort of that first day night on the cruise. You know, you guys have done some tours and things of the ship. And so what can guests expect there?
Yeah. So when we get, we'll probably get to the boat around between 2 and 3. Um, the getting through the process of getting on the boat, you have to get in line, and they take certain rooms before other rooms and that kind of thing, right? But we'll be there to handle all of that, so don't worry about that. Um, once we get on the ship, and basically you get there, they tag your luggage, right? It's going to go to a certain room. You get in, they take a picture of you so that you can get a card for the ship. So you have your ID and whatnot. And then they get your luggage up to your room pretty quick. Typically, it's there by the time you get up to your room. And again, I want to stress it. While the ship is big, it's not enormous. You will be able to figure out the ship relatively easily. You'll be able to get around the ship, relatively easily, know your way, and it'll take a day at best to really kind of figure out where everything's at. We'll pick a time, and it'll probably be somewhere in the 5 o'clock, 5:30 time frame, and we'll all get together. We'll meet in a certain room, which we'll give you directions to and everything, or you can ask anybody on the ship. And we'll get together and we'll do a personal guide through the ship. So we'll walk all the way through the ship, probably grab a drink someplace along the way, and we'll just go ahead and explain how the ship is set up and where the restaurants are at, where the entertainment's at, all those kind of things. And then at the same time, we'll talk about some of the things that you need to know on the ship, right? Yeah. So things like, what do I do with my onboard credit? And do I need help checking some things out is there a problem with my room? All those kind of things we'll work through. I don't expect to have a lot of problems there at all. They're pretty good about that. But we'll go ahead and do that. But while I'm stating that, we'll have a pre-meeting here at our house, probably sometime, I'm guessing in April, beginning of April, something like that, where and we'll do a Zoom or whatever on top of that, inviting people here, and we'll go through all the kind of questions you guys have. I mean, really getting down into the deep specific questions, and if you want to set up certain excursions beforehand and all that kind of stuff. So again, all that doesn't have to be handled tonight. We'll just give an overall tonight, and you will have opportunity to really dig down later.
Great. Oh, that's great. It sounds amazing. So then, then you're going to start cruising. Ship's going to take off. From here, Bill and Chris said there's included excursions. You don't have to do an excursion. You can just get off. You can also just stay on the ship. So whatever you feel like your comfort level is, or once you view the itinerary and look over the different excursions, you can sort of sketch that out. But you don't book the excursions really until a lot closer, right? Isn't it? Is it like 30, 21 days?
It depends. I mean, you can, right? There are excursions that limit out, not very often. Okay. As far as excursions go, first, let me say a couple things. Number one, there are a ton of excursions. I mean, at each port, there's probably 9, 10 excursions you can go on, right? In addition to that, because they're a small ship, they almost always go all the way into port. So I don't know if you guys understand what tendering is. We have to take a smaller boat to get to the port. That doesn't happen very often. I don't know if it'll happen on this trip or not. If it does, that's pretty quick too, because there's only 600 passengers on the ship. But again, what that does for you is if you decide that you don't want to go on an excursion, you're still right in port. You can just go in and walk through the city. And a lot of times, Azamar will even provide like on-off bus things where you can kind of go around the city. And it's pretty inexpensive to do that, if not free. So you'll have that opportunity. I would encourage you to look at the excursions and then keep in mind, some of them are a lot more physically challenging than others. I mean, we've done everything from just walk around the city and go to little taverns and have beers and whatever, which is awesome, right? And we've also done whitewater rafting and jumping off cliffs. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do, right? If you have any questions about any of the excursions, or you want, maybe we've been on this trip before, Chris and I.
Yeah.
So, there's a chance that we would have been on some of the excursions you're looking at anyway. Again, you're free to call us about anything, talk to us, whatever.
The only excursion that I would say you, if you're really considering it, that you want to book ahead
Mm.
will be the race.
Yep.
Yes, I'm not sure everybody understands that on this trip, we're going to be in Monte Carlo on the day of the Grand Prix. And so Azamara is actually offering an excursion
Right.
with tickets to the Grand Prix. So Chris and I are going to that. We've been in that area a couple times. We've
Right.
obviously never been to the race, but that's sort of a once in a lifer.
Yeah,
Right?
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So in our experience, we've only had a couple of excursions that sold out before the ship left. So
Oh,
that does not happen very often. But if there is an excursion that, as you're looking at the options, you feel like I absolutely need to do this,
Right.
that is something you're going to want to get booked
Right.
just in case.
Yeah.
Some of our favorite times, though, are the days that we don't do an excursion and we get off the ship and we walk through the town. Maybe you Google some of the highlights, some buildings to see, some restaurants to try, but some of our best times are just getting off the ship and wandering through the little town because it's different than what we normally see every day.
Yeah. And a lot of people speak English, so that
Yeah.
the language really isn't that much of a barrier. And when it is a barrier, it's fun, right? Because
Yeah.
you're trying to make hand signals to figure out what's
Yeah.
going on
They're-
or whatever. But they're very nice.
They are.
We haven't run into any problem there.
Yeah.
Everywhere we go, they want you there,
Yeah.
right? So they're very nice. The other thing I guess I would say, if we're talking about excursions, in line with that, when you get on the ship, if you have dining on the ship, they have a lot of places where you can dine. It's included, right? Food's all included and everything else. But there are some upper restaurants that you can buy packages to that are like $30 a person per time, or you can buy a package of 3 or 4, whatever. And
Yeah.
the food's good on the ship anywhere,
Really
all
good.
over. The food there is like another level up, right? Chateaubriand for 2 and lobster, and it's just crazy, right? Anyway, you have to make reservations for those, and that does fill up pretty fast. So on that first day, for whoever has that upper dining, we're going to talk to you about how to make those reservations and to get those in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that you can't eat there, but you might have a 9 p.m. dinner
right.
instead of 6 o'clock dinner that you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so on the ship, the first day you're in Livorno, then you'll be able to either visit Pisa or Florence. I have been to both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one I would pick, but they're both amazing opportunities to go see those places. When I was there in Florence, I didn't get to see the Statue of David because we missed one ticket and they didn't have any more. So I have to go back, I guess, to Florence and see the Statue of David. But the Duomo was amazing.
Yeah.
Pisa is very cool to do at one time. I was very freaked out by the tower leaning over and walking up all those steps.
Did you get to the picture with you're holding up the tower and all that?
Absolutely, and everybody's making fun of us, but everybody's doing it, so who cares?
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, the next day you're going to do the Cinque Terre, which is I have been also to Sestri Levani in the Cinque Terre. It's right around in the same area. It's absolutely stunning. If you think about those seaside cliff towns that are all pink and blue and all the different, that's this. So you get to spend some time there. Day 8. This is Côte d'Azur. This is where you're going to be familiar with the scenery because it's been in movies such as Catch a Thief, Fair to Remember, and Never Say Never Again. And then this is where you'll be in Monte Carlo to see the Grand Prix. Like I said, this is if Grand Prix, it's the Formula One Grand Prix. So it's like these fast cars that run through the city, this old city. It's like one of the most iconic races of F1 racing, and then to have it there. So you've probably seen it on some like movies with like James Bond and they race through the streets. It's probably Monte Carlo. So if you want to take advantage of that excursion, there's more information about that that Shelby and everybody can fill you in on. Day 9, you're going to be cruising to Barcelona. Tonight you'll arrive in Barcelona with time to take in a flamenco dance, which I highly recommend. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. Just wild. It was just so amazing and intense, and don't miss that opportunity to do that. So that would be fun. Let's see. Day 10 is also in Barcelona, which because you're gonna have the night and then the next day. Lots of opportunities to take in the city different ways. So kind of look at the excursions and that are available there. Day 11, you're gonna go to Palma, and there's a lot of great things to see here. And this island is amazing. I would say definitely get off the ship and explore. Like I said, you can do it by a guided tour, a bike, or by foot. Day 12, you're going to spend some time sailing in style aboard your boutique hotel at sea. You can enjoy this spa. You can, the fitness center, all the different restaurants, hang out with everybody. I think that would be really fun. I always look forward to a day at sea. Um, and then they have a lot of entertainment at night that you can take in as well. So, Bill and Chris will kind of go when they do the tour, they'll point out where those things happen and how they get those announcements to you and where you can look up the schedule of the ship and all of that. So you'll know that ahead of time.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there a white night on this cruise?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as I know, there unless weather or something else, there's always a white night.
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't find it anywhere on the.
Yeah. They don't normally discuss that, Jackie, until pretty much we don't even know until the cruise is started.
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes a couple of days in, then they'll tell us what night it's going to be. My guess is it'll be one of the nights that we are late night in port somewhere.
Right.
It could be in Barcelona because we're overnight in Barcelona.
Okay.
That's just an absolute guess on my part, but it'll be one of the nights that we leave port late.
Yeah, I actually I don't know where I got this from, but it's in my head. I thought it might be the night we spend in Lisbon on the boat.
Oh, the night before we leave?
Yes. So that could be what they're talking about for people that aren't familiar with this. Azamara does a white night on these cruises, and it's an awesome thing. It's a buffet, but it's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
They have so much food and whatever outside by the pool, and the higher people on the boat, the captain and whatever, are serving food.
Yeah.
They're cooking food. There's a dance out there. Everybody gets dressed in white, or almost everybody gets dressed in white. So you're going to want to bring, white
something
shorts or white pants and white, a dress or whatever. Not everybody. So again, if you want to wear jeans or whatever, you can do that. But probably 95% of people are all dressed in white. It's a big thing.
All we recommend really is at least a white shirt.
Right. So,
everything else you can choose whatever you want, but at least a white shirt.
Right. So it's important, and we will know when white night is when we get on, but it's important to know that because you don't want to make reservations for dinner at one of the other restaurants or whatever when you have white night, right?
Yeah.
Another one that, is tricky with dinner, they also provide an excursion on most of their cruises that's free. And they'll do things at night. It's called Oz Amazing Evening, right?
Oh, yeah.
And to give you an example, when we were in Greece, they had the Youth Greece Orchestra for Greece do a concert in a Orpheum Theater type thing. And they were 8-year-old to 18-year-old, and then there were a few adults mixed in, and they had like a 40-person adult choir in the background doing Alexander, the whole orchestra, symphony, whatever about it. It was unbelievable, right? And they bring you in. There's champagne and wine and everything for everybody. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's
right?
beautiful.
Sounds so exciting. It's great.
Yeah.
Rounding out the itinerary, so we're gonna then the next day this is day 13, or May 30th, you're gonna visit Gibraltar. This is famous for the Rock of Gibraltar. It's also the closest point between Europe and Africa. Then so that's a whole day, and there's lots of excursions there. And then day 14, this is when you arrive in Lisbon. It's an afternoon arrival. And so there are a lot of things you can do. Again, definitely go into the city and explore. Experience the city's colors, stunning Gothic architecture, and temperate weather. The city is easy to walk by foot or tram. And then, you said you can enjoy dinner on land, or you can enjoy on the ship. And then you spend the night overnight, and then the next day you would depart the cruise. Do you guys typically have breakfast that last day on the cruise too, and then get off?
Yes. They open it up early.
Okay. And then
open it up.
we will have private transfers again that will pick you up from the port. And then depending on when we leave, if there's time, we'll do something in Lisbon, or if it's just go to the airport, then we'll just go to the airport. It just depends on the flights. And
Right.
we'll start booking those flights, next week with Shelby. So we'll talk more about that. And then you're on your way home. And that would have been 15 days overseas on unbelievable cruise and tour. So the details are on the next page. This has got things like what the price is, and this brings us to our next little point about this specific tour. So anytime, so far anyway, when we partner with Shelby Goodrum, who's an amazing travel agent with Goodrum Getaways. It's her company, and she is an expert in Azamara cruises and cruises in general. And so what we've decided to do instead of us trying to become an expert and just being mediocre, we've partnered with her. So we put together the land portion, and then we partnered with Shelby for the cruise portion. So there's two places you have to sign up. You got to come to us and sign up for the land portion, which is the prices you see there. And then you got to go to Shelby and say, okay, here's the what room I want to do, and so forth and so on. And then she's taking care of airfare this time. We've listed her contact information there, her phone number and her email. I would say to shoot her an email first if you have questions, and then she can get back to you or schedule a call because she's got lots of clients and everything. But she takes great care of every single person. Like I said, she'll book the airfare. I put a price in there that's typically what the airfare is around. We always look for great deals, and I think we found some cool options out there, so we can explore those when we call you and talk about airfare. The deposit for the land portion is $750 per person, and then we will build this out the remainder of ours on March 1st. You'll get some paperwork in the mail,
Paid for.
and you'll pay for the land portion at that time. You can see the hotel information down there, and then on the right, it just tells you what the trip includes. Obviously with any tour, it's subject to slight variation. We really don't try to change anything, but like right now, I have a tour out in New Orleans, and it's a huge snowstorm, so we have to change it up. Um, but we take care of all that so that you guys are just a seamless experience for all of our guests. But if we have to change something, we want to be able to make sure we take care of everybody. Something that we put in all of these overseas tours is that it does require like walking on uneven terrain. So I mean, even though the ship's not big, you have to walk to it, even though we get you close. And it's just not like here in the States. You really have to bring great walking shoes. Pay attention to where you're walking. It's going to be uneven and cobblestone streets. And I don't know how many times we have people like looking up to take pictures, and then all of a sudden the curb comes, and then they're taking a picture of the sidewalk. So just have to be mindful of that. We do offer travel insurance through TravelX. It's a nationwide carrier, so that you can certainly purchase it there. It's not required. Shelby probably also has a referral for some insurance if you want some different options. TravelX has 3 different options, and so you can find the one that best suits you. And then obviously you do need a passport for this. They've been pretty quick, so if you need to renew yours, check the dates of when it expires because you can't travel within 90 days of an expired passport. So check that out. And then the last part about this is just the refund policy from Excite. So deposits are refundable 60 days prior to departure. If you purchase travel insurance, then you'd be able to like get your full refund back after that. We also really try to work with you. So in most cases, we'll try to give you a tour credit for everything that we can, so that even if you don't get your cash back, you could, we will take a little bit of a hit just so that it works for you guys to go some other time. Things come up last minute. Just as soon as something would come up, just talk to us and we would love to work that out for you. It's important that we travel with you when it's the right time. So if it's something that's going to stress you out, let's just work out a plan and get you on the next one. The order form is very straightforward. It tells you again the price this is for the land portion. If you want, Excite's not really booking the airfare, but that just means that Excite or Shelby will book it. Otherwise, if you say no, that means you're going to do your own booking. So, and you're more than welcome to do that. Just share your itinerary with us. And then talks a little bit about your passport information, fill that out. An emergency contact would be great on here as well. And then you can make your deposit several different ways. You can mail a check-in. You can fill out the credit card information there and mail it to us. Online, you can pay by ACH, which is that routing and account number, or you can pay by credit card online as well. And then we will send out the final invoices, like I said, March 1st. with some more information about how the first day works, how, how meeting Bill and Chris will work at the airport, or meeting up with the group if you're not flying from Omaha, and all those little details. And then, like I said, in April, we will have a meeting where everybody can come if you're close, or you can join in via Zoom, and we'll talk about the trip and get to know everybody that's going, answer a lot of good questions, talk about specifics about the cruise and the tour. And then the week before the tour departs, we will call every single guest and go over, okay, this is your itinerary. This is, there's not hasn't been any changes. This is what time you should be at the airport. Do you have any questions? Just so that you feel super confident that you know what's going on, especially that first day, and that you're ready to have a great vacation. And then we will take care of the rest from there. So, yeah, it's pretty seamless after that.
It is.
You want to be
I
unmuted?
do. So a couple things. If you're not getting the airline through Shelby or through Excite, you'll still want to talk to us about it so that you're close to the meeting time at the airport in Rome and that kind of thing. Because again, we're going to go take off for a day in Rome and whatever. So we want to make sure that everybody gets there early enough that that's not going to be a problem. I know that Azamara's final payment is due for people that were making multiple payments, I think in the next week, which doesn't mean you still can't get the trip. It just means it's probably all going to be due at once, or whatever they end up doing. Just to inform you of that. What else?
Weather. What is the weather like when we're going?
It's going to be 60s, 70s.
Okay.
More than likely, Jackie, mid 70s.
Yeah, I would say.
Maybe an 80 or 2, but it'll be nothing compared to August.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll at least feel like we can be outside and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, mid-May. Yeah, at the end of May. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Another question we have typically is like, Billy, Chris, what would you suggest for people that say how much money should we bring to spend?
Okay, so for tips and stuff on the boat, tips are included, right? So you don't have to leave anything for the boat. If you do leave something, they don't care if it's in euros or US. They're just happy to get it. And you don't tip during the week, right? It's not like you give $1 for every drink or anything like that. If you tip, you can go to the people that really treated you well, like maybe a particular bartender or whatever, and give them $20 or something, and maybe leave. We usually leave like $50 in the room. But again, you don't have to leave anything. Gratuities are included in this trip for the Azamara part. Right.
I do encourage you to remember, though, that if you do an excursion or something else, that you do want to tip your guides.
Right.
So you do want to bring some money for that, whether it's euros or US. For Bill and I, and you might have covered this, we don't get euros ahead of time. We normally stop somewhere in Rome or Florence or somewhere, and we go to an ATM, a valid ATM, and that's how we get our euros. Yeah. Or you can go through your local bank and get them on your own ahead of time if you choose.
If your card works overseas, like your debit card, which it should, if you're with a bank, it's a lot cheaper to get them overseas. It's a lot cheaper. Yeah. You're going to pay probably 18 to 22% if you get them here. If you get them over there, you're going to pay like 3%, right? Also, you don't need that many euros. A couple hundred euros is a lot, because you don't really use cash other than like tipping and stuff. You don't use cash over there. And again, American money will work in a lot of places anyway. Yeah. You're going to want to use your Visa as much as possible, because the exchange rate is so good on Visa, right? Yeah. You're not going to get a better deal than that.
Yeah.
So
where I use cash is if I'm going to buy an espresso, right? Or like my husband loves gelato. So we do that. We do those two things almost every day.
Right.
So, but you can also use your credit card for that.
Yeah. Or if you're in, like, we'll go to probably a market, you're going to probably go to multiple markets depending on what you do in each city or whatever, just open markets. And that's kind of fun. And you always wheel deal in the markets, right? It's just It's fun.
It is.
Never pay full price.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else is on our list to cover here. Bear with. Okay, so we went through itinerary, frequent questions. Okay, we talked about leading up to the departure. Okay, from the chat, any questions that you guys have thought of? You can chat them in if you want to. That helps us out. What other questions can you think of about Azamara cruise, tours in general, our experiences overseas?
Got to be something out there.
I'm looking on Facebook Live. Our Facebook friends, do you have any questions about the tour? We're talking about the Azamara cruise. Our tour's watching it from Nora. That's so funny.
They are. That's awesome, isn't it?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so here's a question that this is actually something that's come up quite a bit, and this is interesting to talk about. So, some tours at Excite we do every year, right? So, Greece is a staple now because it's so popular that we do it every year. And some rotate out. So, this is one that we plan to have an Azamara cruise every year, it won't be this itinerary every year. So, it will be something else. It could be, but probably not. We try to change it up. So I've had a lot of people say, "Are you going to offer that tour again next year?" Well, not the same one. It will probably come back through a rotation maybe sometime. But if you're thinking about going on this trip, I would jump on this because, like I said, it won't be here next year. And like if you're thinking about, obviously, I'd love it to go to Greece too, but it's at the same time. So do this one and then the Christmas markets of Europe in the wintertime. Then you can do 2 overseas Europe trips and cover all of Europe with with Chris too. So
That's right.
yeah, so like I said, this one we rotate out. There will be an Azamara cruise next year, but we won't know what it is until after this one gets back. And then we kind of ask for your feedback about where you guys would like to go and which one you liked. Because I think most of the time, if you sign up for the next one, you sort of get some help,
You
right?
get a lot of help. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that when we're on the ship and signing up for the next one. And they make it very convenient. You can really, what you do is you sign up for the furthest one out on their calendar because you're not going to go on that one anyway, and it doesn't cost you anything to change to another one. But while you're on the boat, whatever one you sign up for, they give you a lot. I mean, they give you credits and discounts and drink packages and all kinds of stuff. And the beauty of it is, even if you transfer that to another sailing, all that stuff follows you, right?
Awesome.
So we will talk about that. One other thing I thought of is medical, just your medical coverage, overseas, right? I don't know how that, JJ, like Medicare, I'm assuming covers overseas and whatever.
Yeah, I think with travel with Medicare covers some stuff. I think if it's big things, like I had a young lady fall and break her hip overseas, and she had to have surgery over there. So this covered, then you would have travel insurance to cover like flying back either first class or on a private medevac plane or whatever, and then like major surgeries over there because it's going to be a chore for your U.S. insurance to kind of cover that. But those are great questions to sort of just ask your insurance provider. And then if you do go with Travelex, those are great questions to say, who's covering what first, and then who covers second. A lot of times it's like, the Travelex covers first, and then whatever they don't, then maybe the US will cover, or vice versa. So it's a good kind of discussion to have with your different insurance providers. But it's also great for like, they also can cover things like lost luggage, trip delays, can't like tour cancellations. Like if you have to cancel, that's it's there for that also. So it covers a lot of things. Just depends on what plan you have, and then like how much of it covers, the dollar amount. So
I do see, AJ, that a couple people want to talk about luggage.
Oh yeah. So luggage it's 50 pounds weight on one checked bag. You can also have like a carry-on item, like you carry on and a personal item. It all depends on the ticket that you get, but that's the same for the bus and the cruise. And just remember, whatever you bring with you, you're gonna have to move a little bit, right? We will do some of it, but just think about that when you're like getting out of the airport, you're gonna have to wheel that because nobody's gonna be able to wheel it to the bus for you. So, I always think too. I mean, it's a good thing it's gonna be warmer, so maybe it's a little bit lighter clothes. Also, nobody knows you there, so if you wear the same pants twice, like who cares? It doesn't matter.
So one thing that I will tell you, Bill and I, we each take a big bag and we each take a small carry-on suitcase.
Mhm.
Plus, I bring my backpack. My backpack contains what do I want when I'm on the plane. That's my iPad, my phone charger, any additional snacks I need, medication. I really encourage you to bring a change of clothes in your carry-on.
Right, along with any medication you have to have, just so you can
Just
go a day or two if you have to, right? We haven't really had a lot of problems with luggage at all,
no,
but it
ever.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you bring that extra carry-on, she usually loads that up with stuff that she buys. So
Yeah.
we have a place to put it, going home.
Yeah. So what I do, and these are the kind of questions that we will discuss when we have our
Yes.
real, what I call meet and greet, where everybody gets to see each other, chat. We get to talk about some real specifics. That's when we'll talk about your luggage, exactly what you should bring, what should be in your carry-on. But what Bill's inferring or referring to is I bring bubble wrap.
Yep.
I bring packing. I bring bubble wrap, packing tape, and plastic wrap, because when we go to that olive farm, I'm bringing home olive oil. If I'm
Same
lucky,
here.
yes.
Yeah.
If I'm lucky, it will be in a metal bottle that I don't have to worry about breaking. But most of the time, it's in a glass bottle. So I want to be able to bring that home and know that it's going to make it home to my house
Yep.
safely.
Yep. Or a bottle of wine or 6.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's great advice. Yeah, definitely. And it doesn't weigh anything. That bubble wrap is like weightless, basically. So
that's nothing.
Done,
No, nothing. Oh, and one more thing. There is laundry on the ship.
Yep.
good question.
If you do it yourself, it's free. They also provide the laundry detergent.
Everything.
It's not like a giant laundry room. You do have to figure out how you're going to get it done, but we do ours every time. So JJ, what you said about wearing the same pants, I can wash them.
Yep.
There you go.
Or you can pay to have your laundry done, and that also is relatively inexpensive.
It is.
Very cheap.
Yeah.
Well worth it.
It is.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about, I know that with booking a group or with Shelby, let's say, there are sometimes you get perks with doing it that way. Does it depend on when you sign up, or are there things that are consistent for our group? Or like, does it just when Shelby books your cruise, she'll go over what that is?
She'll go over, well, she won't know exactly what it is because it depends on how many people are in our group. So it's by group. So as long as you're a member of the group, and anybody that goes through Shelby is going to be a member of the group, then it'll take care of itself. They offer different things depending on when and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you'll get some onboard credit. Some, like this last one we went on, we were able to have a group party for Excite, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's so
They
awesome.
catered it in and had drinks and everything, and got to meet the upper staff of the captain and everything in the ship. It was awesome.
Plus each room got $100.
Yeah, each room got So it just really depends on how many, and it depends on when it is, and they're always coming up. I heard something about don't quote me on this, but I heard something about a captain's table dinner for this group.
We're trying.
So
that's what I would say. We're trying.
Yeah, we may get the captain's table one night.
Yeah,
which is fun.
We'll see.
I think something else too that we could cover that comes up is, this is definitely, I always say, obviously travel is a luxury, but it's the best investment you can make in yourself. And some people will say, well, why would it seems a little, it might be at the top of my price range for a trip, or why is it this price, or why is it like land is separate? And I mean, I can speak to myself as Excite and why it is what it is, but I think Bill and Chris can also give a great picture about the quality that you're going to go with. You're going to get what you're going to pay for. And with Excite, it's like we have great hotels, we pick the great locations, hands-on experiences, small group sizes, you get to know people, you have amazing staff to take care of you. So you're going to have, two of the most amazing guides ever, Bill and Chris with you there. And then you have our office staff here in the States to make sure that everything is smooth behind the scenes. And Shelby, who's brilliant. And then you're not going on a Carnival cruise, you're going on Azamara. And it's the next level. Yeah.
It's a whole different level. And honestly, Azamara, for what they give you, they're sort of mid to lower mid range
Right.
as far as cost, right? They are not as far as service. There are over 300 staff members for 600 people. I mean, it's crazy good service, right? And just with the white knight and everything, it's very clean. The ships are very clean. They do a really good job of dealing with the people they have on board, so it's not crowded at all. There's a gym on board. There's a spa center that you can go to. There's obviously a pool and those kind of things. They have good entertainment on board. It is not carnival or anything. You're right. You're not going to see movie screens and movie theaters and those kind. There are no water slides, right? This is not that. This is more upper end.
Yep.
You won't see a ton of kids, right? You'll see maybe 5 at the most. Maybe none, right? And so you'll have a lot of people that are in the, anywhere from maybe 25, 30 to 85, 90, right? Not so many of the older ones, but just a lot of people in the middle. So, that's what you should expect. Really good service, really good food, really good drinks, really good excursions, a good service overall. Nobody I've ever taken on an Altamar cruise has complained, ever.
One other thing that I would add is the ships are small enough that at the end of the day, Bill and I, we're going to be in one of 3 places. We're going to be in our room, we're going to be in the living room, or we're going to be at the piano bar.
The piano bar.
And you will be able to find almost right. Exactly, Jackie.
We're going to be doing congo
but you will be,
it's point, awesome.
My point is that the ship is small enough that you can find us.
Yes.
It's not 2,000, 3,000 passengers. No. It's 600 to 700 people max.
Yep. You'll feel very comfortable on it. So more like going through a Marriott or a Holiday Inn type thing. Yeah. It's easy to find everything and won't take any time to get used to it.
Yeah.
But
is it the same floor plan as the Pursuit?
They all are.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's exactly the same floor plan, and even Jackie, the restaurants and the rooms have the same names.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you knew where the living room was on our August trip, you'll know where that is on our May trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only difference I've ever seen, and they only have 4 ships,
right,
is that the coffee in the center, the coffee place is reversed.
Right. Sometimes the coffee shop is on this side. Sometimes the coffee shop is on that side.
Right.
But literally, it's in the same area.
Yep, it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, it's so convenient because if all of us sounds like are pretty great travelers, but like we just take care of everything, all the transfers, all the excursion type things, all of that's all we already picked out all the best stuff, so you can just get to go and enjoy, and we will fill in all the details.
They're really good, and any excursion you go on, because again, on the excursions before and after with Excite, we're all going to be doing together, right?
Yep.
But on the ship, you have so many choices. We're not all going to be on the same excursion, but they take very good care of you. They know exactly what they're doing. You'll have a guide each time if you're on an excursion of whatever one you want to go on. So while we would love to have you all with us on our excursions, probably not going to happen, but you should feel very comfortable going on any excursion that the ship offers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any other questions? Fantastic. Well, I want to thank Bill and Chris taking some time out of their evening to share the tour with us. For all of you for joining us here, and for those of you that will watch it later, we can't wait to see you all. Hopefully, you learned a lot tonight. If you have more questions, you can find our info, info@excitmytravel.com, on Facebook. You can call our office. If you want to get a hold of Bill and Chris, we can make that happen. So you probably already have their contact information, so reach out. If you want referrals, people to talk to about a cruise, the cruise experience, we can arrange all of that. So check it out. We would love to have you attend. And without any other further ado, we can't wait to travel with you. We'll catch you all later. Have a great evening.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Facebook Live. I'm going to sign off here.